In the last video, we tied this knot right here that is a Gaucho pattern. Well, this knot is actually a headhunter's knot, but it's a Gaucho pattern. And I mentioned that a Gaucho knot, and this is the knot that we tied as a 3-strand multi-string herringbone knot. A herringbone knot and a Gaucho knot has the same string run, but the coding of the overs and unders are exactly opposite. Where this is over, if that was under, it'd be a herringbone. Now this is the knot that has herringbone bites on one end and Sobry pineapples on the other, but you can see the herringbone pattern better than this dark string. But that got me thinking about other knots that are like a herringbone pattern. And see how this is my introduction to Turk's Head Knots book. See how a herringbone has a row coding? A Gaucho knot, headhunter's knot, fan knots, they have column coding. But in the very first knot book that I tied or wrote, when I got to the 3-pass herringbone knots, I tied them as a hood knot, and I didn't realize, I thought I was tying a 3-pass herringbone, but when I did my inner weave, I nested the bite. So a hood knot has a single bite and then 2 bites. Here you can see it in here. There's a single bite, and then there's a double bite. Oh, let's get down here where the knot's tied. See how this is there's a nested bite right there. Then there's a single above it and a single below it. And below the single, that is a hood knot. A hood knot has the same string run as a Hansen knot. See how this Hansen knot, it has a single, then a nested double, and a single. A Hansen knot, and when Frank Hansen was braiding a lot of reins, he used this knot all the time, and that is why it is called a Hansen knot, is because Frank Hansen used this knot a lot. Well, I didn't realize that I was calling this a 3-pass herringbone until I was looking at knots and that with a man down in Australia named Neil Hood, and because of working with knots with him, I figured that out, so I called this a hood knot. And a hood knot and a Hansen knot has the same string one, but the hood knot has a herringbone pattern and the Hansen knot has a Gaucho pattern. This is row coded, this is column coded. Other knots, a pineapple knot and a Norton knot are the same string run. It's just their coding is switched. So this Norton knot is the same knot as a type 1 pineapple knot. So this brings me back to the hood knot, because there's many variations of a hood knot. The one I tie has the 2 bites and 1 bite, and that's called a 2/1. There's a 3/1, there's a 3/2, and that is hood knots that have 2 rows of of bites. Now, if you've got 3 rows of bites, hood knots, you have a 2-1-1, which has 2 bites nested and then a 1-1. Or you could have 3 bites nested and a 1-1. Or you could have a 3-2-1 with 3 nested bites, with 2 nested bites below and 1 below that. Now, I tied those 40 years ago, but I don't remember what they look like, and I don't think I have ever tied that bite pattern in a Gaucho pattern. So there are lots of knots that can be tied that we haven't even looked at. You've never seen them on a set of reins. And I just wanted to point that out because of when I was tying the Gaucho and how, since this is herringbone bites on this end, how this is coming under and then over. This is coming under and over, but see how that pattern is offset. So it makes this a Gaucho, this a herringbone pattern. I just wanted to share that with you and get you thinking about the different types of knots that you can tie with herringbone patterns and Gaucho patterns that are the reverse of each other. So give that a thought and try tying some of those knots. Thank you for listening.